This is FightFans Radio.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is FightFans Radio. Hello? There we go. Alright, well, I'm down. I can still hear myself. This is awesome. So, it just keeps echoing. It's fun to listen to, but not really. So, Jerry, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm good.
Live right now?
We are live.
Awesome.
So for some reason, there we go, not echoing no more. So I love how before the show starts, we're using this and no echo, and then we get on and it starts trying to play games with us.
Yeah, the Mario Sperry episode was scary because...
Oh yeah, no one knows that.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but we had a little bit of lag on our end.
No, you can't. I listened to it. You can't tell. If they seen behind the scenes... God damn.
We were pacing, trying to figure out what was going on, but...
We were pulling our beard hair out.
Yeah.
Because we have bigger beards than we do on the hair on top of our head. Confusing. So for those that are tuning in right now, I am Real DWC.
And I'm Jeroel. I'm going to drop the P.
Okay. I like Jeroel. I like it. All right, guys. So today we got a big episode. Last time we tried to explain the episode, Hanat Stack just called in on us.
Yeah.
So we're here, huge episode. We got Justin Rader, which is Rafael Lovato Jr.'s first black belt. And also we have Mr. Victor Estima. Hello?
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 Hello. You there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. You called in a little bit early, but that's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that I had the right number and everything and that everything was good to go.
It's great. Let's start it off right now. By the way, we have two hosts here. I'm David and
I'm Jeroel.
So if you think there's two people talking to you, there is.
Okay. Sounds good. It's nice to talk to you guys.
Thank you. Same. First of all, maybe just a little background, tell the people who you are, and maybe just a little backdrop, because we know more about you, but maybe perhaps some people don't. So maybe starting off in wrestling and how you made the transition into BJJ.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my name is Justin Rader. I'm one of the black belts out here under Master Rafael Lovato Jr. I'm out here at his academy, Lovato School of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. In fact, I was his first black belt that he ever, or first person he ever promoted to black belt. And so one very proud accomplishment in my life right there. So yeah, I'm one of the black belt instructors out here, as well as part of the competition team. And I got started here about 14 years ago, I believe. It start to lose count after so many. Yeah, so I got started here about 14 years ago, and my father is the one that got me started actually in martial arts and wrestling at a very young age. Between the ages of 4 and 5, my father got me started in actually wrestling and taekwondo at the time, and I did taekwondo for a number of years before I stopped that. And then, of course, I began wrestling between those ages as well, and wrestled all the way up and throughout high school. And so it was through my wrestling, actually, that I did find out about jiu-jitsu, and I began training jiu-jitsu here under Rafael's father, Professor Rafael Lovato Sr., and that was at about age 12. So I had already come to them with quite a few years of wrestling, and that's kind of how all of this got started. So when I was wrestling, my very first year in wrestling, I was wrestling under a coach named Kevin Hendricks, who actually happened to be Johnny Hendricks' father. And he was a national champion wrestler, and I was actually that first year, before Johnny moved on up into middle school, I was actually on Johnny Hendricks' wrestling team, and I watched him go up through middle school, high school, and then, of course, on to college and everything he accomplished. But I was actually on that team quite a few years younger than himself. And then throughout the next couple of years, I had a couple of different coaches. I wrestled for a couple of different Edmond teams. But my dad, when he first initially got me started, he really tried to seek out the best, the most qualified, wrestling instructors and team that he thought I could be on, because as long as I was going to be doing this, he wanted to make it, worth my while. And so he began to seek out, kind of did a little investigating, and we ran into that team, and he was impressed with that team, so he got me signed up. He thought it'd be very important for me for everything martial arts and wrestling have to offer: the discipline, the honor, integrity, respect, work ethic, self-esteem and confidence, and everything that those build and instill in you, and that kind of thing. And then, of course, competition is very important as well. And I can build on into that later when I finally realized, what it was my father truly wanted out of wrestling and martial arts. So I wrestled for, all throughout grade school and middle school and high school. And in middle school and high school, we all kind of went our separate ways as far as the Edmond schools out here in Oklahoma are concerned. There's 2 or 3 out here. I ended up at a place called Deer Creek Middle School, and Deer Creek High School is where I wrestled for. And during my time there, I wrestled for a coach, Andy Howington, and I still consider him my wrestling coach. He's someone that I have a very good relationship with still. And I often go back to him, and even I'll even visit his practices, because he's still the head coach out there now. And I'll still continue to learn from him and ask him different things, and he'll show me things too as well. And so that's great. But I wrestled for him through middle school and high school. And I actually did not go on to wrestle in college. I get asked that a lot. Did you go on to wrestle in college, or where did you wrestle in college? Or sometimes people just assume I did, and there's a little bit of a story behind that as well. But it really comes down to, throughout wrestling, for him, he really did, so much for me and taught me so much. And I ended up being a high school state runner-up my senior year, and that was the best that I ever finished. And those are the extent of my wrestling credentials. And sometimes I tell people that, and they're really shocked and surprised that they're not better, but that is the best that I was able to accomplish. And at that time, I did not truly believe that I had the ability in myself to really go and wrestle at the D1 level, because I was going to the University of Oklahoma for college, and I just didn't think that I really had what it took to be a D1 All-American at that time. And I look back now and I realize that was the wrong mindset to have, but nevertheless, it is one that I did have at that time. And then, of course, I was already a little bit better, more accomplished at Jiu-Jitsu, and so I decided to continue on and stick with Jiu-Jitsu and continue training there. And I look back, and it's a learning, lesson for me. It was one of those, I had the wrong mindset, but at the same time, I don't look back on with regret either. I'm very happy with the decision I've made. I've been able to accomplish a lot here, but that was the extent of my wrestling. And then, of course, throughout my years of wrestling, everyone kind of knew, all my teammates knew that I was really into martial arts and that kind of thing. I did Taekwondo for a number of years, and I even did some Kyokushin karate in there as well. I have a brown belt in Kyokushin karate, a red-black belt in Taekwondo, and that's where I left off with those. But one of the dads on one of the wrestling teams that I was on drove by a place and just caught a quick glance at it, and it's said the word Jiu-Jitsu, and of course he knew that I was into all that kind of stuff, and my father was really into getting me involved in all that kind of stuff, and so he mentioned it to my dad, and we looked it up, and we drove down here, and the rest is history. I'm actually still here, sitting in my back office right now here at Lovato's Academy, and so it's very good, and I've really enjoyed my time here and everything that I've been able to learn and accomplish under Master Rafael. And so, that's kind of, I started here at the age of 12, and I'm still here. And, throughout, a lot of those years, I really consider myself lucky in a way, in the sense of the fact that I got to train both wrestling and jiu-jitsu at the same time, and I kind of developed this, you know, almost hybrid style, you know, meshing wrestling and jiu-jitsu together to really make, you know, everything that wrestling had to offer me work for everything that jiu-jitsu had to offer me, and putting them together to really form one complete game. And so, you know, Rafael Lovato Jr. has been a really great big help with that throughout the years, obviously. This is the only place that I have ever trained jiu-jitsu, and I don't ever see myself going anywhere else.
Nice.
So that's a little bit about, you know, who I am and where I came from, and, you know, a little bit about what I've accomplished, and some of the things that, you know, we've accomplished here are pretty great.
Did you find it to be a smooth transition becoming a wrestler to doing jiu-jitsu?
You know, and that's kind of where I was going with, I consider myself and believe myself to be very lucky that I started training jiu-jitsu when I did. I was still very coachable, pliable in a certain sense. The fact that, you know, I hadn't been, you know, I'd come here with already about 7 or 8 years of wrestling experience underneath my belt. So obviously I, you know, experienced some of those growing pains, but at the same time I hadn't been doing it for so long that it was like just so much, all that I knew, all gone into the older ages, that I wasn't able to, you know, always revert back to what it was I was doing. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, you know, I've spent, you know, my entire life from that point on, you know, tweaking my wrestling style to fit into the jiu-jitsu game, and there are definitely differences, and, you know, if you don't think that there are, then, you know, in my opinion, you're pretty much just wrong, because there absolutely are. There's different things that you need to be able to do. Just because you were a great wrestler doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, you know, do well in submission grappling, especially submission grappling tournaments where submissions are allowed. You know, you shouldn't even, you know, there's even other subtle differences. We don't wear shoes in submission grappling. If you think you're just going to be able to walk in and just take everybody down just because they don't have quite the same level of wrestling experience, you're wrong there as well. Your neck is something you really have to pay attention to, focus on, and protect, as well as transitioning. Not from, you know, wrestling can be very explosive at times, more often than not, especially in the takedown game. And then, of course, jiu-jitsu, as we know, can be a lot slower, more methodical, and that kind of thing. So you really have to know when to turn that on and how to transition into turning that off. And so I started at a very young age, doing them both back to back. I would train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu half the year when I wasn't wrestling, and then the other half of the year when I was wrestling, I was doing primarily that. And so I would take what I had from my wrestling, and once wrestling season was over, maybe I'd, you know, I always did a little bit of freestyle and grapple here, but nothing ever too serious. Those styles didn't appeal to me nearly as much as what they call collegiate or folk style did, and so I focused mainly on that. And so once that kind of came to an end, I pretty much went right back into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and, you know, beginning to learn all of those things. Oftentimes, and so many times early on in my career, I did get caught often and a lot. And I started to learn and put together, you know, well, next time, what am I going to do better next time? Or I'd ask Rafael, hey, this has been happening to me. I think that, you know, I'm onto something here, but I keep getting caught here. What can we do to tweak this or tweak that and make it different? And what do I need to be ready and prepared for, you know, because in wrestling, everyone's going to turn, give their back and everything, avoid the points for their back being shown, avoid the pin. Well, in jiu-jitsu, not so. What do I need to be prepared for when it does go right to the ground? What position should I be looking for, you know, especially side control, force the half guard. If they do turn their back, when do I scramble and take the back, and those sorts of things. So, you know, again, I consider myself very lucky to have started that early on, you know, before it was, it's funny. I just believe that once you know, you've been doing it for so long at such a high level, I believe that you are less inclined, to be able to learn and break those habits because they are just so ingrained. And even there, it might even be a blessing in disguise, in some ways, that I didn't go on to wrestle in college, because that would have just taken up all of my time. And at that point in time, I really stopped and focused on my jiu-jitsu after that, and just making, meshing my wrestling and tweaking it time and again. And luckily, especially early on, most of those times of getting caught, were here inside the training room as opposed to out there in competition more often than not, because as a kid, as a child, I didn't do a whole lot of traveling to, the worlds in Brazil and the Brasileiro in Brazil and whatnot. I was still very young. Those trips, and especially with, my family being back here, it was hard to make those kinds of trips and commitments. So most of the competitions I did as a kid were very local. Again, it was only half the year, and so I didn't, most of what I did during that time up until about 16 years old was training here inside the academy, inside the room. And of course, I'd do local tournaments in Texas and Oklahoma if they were held there. I didn't venture out too far before that. And of course, back at that time too, there really weren't a whole lot of really Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kids competitors, not like there are nowadays. There wasn't, Nagas that were held every weekend with thousands of kids going to them trying to win a sword or something. Most of the tournaments I went to were, 3, 4 kids maybe, and I never ran into anyone with even close to near the wrestling experience I had. So most of the tournaments I did as a kid, I just blew everybody out of the water. Again, it was very local, didn't travel too much, and, I just had the wrestling ability that most everyone didn't have. They didn't have any wrestling experience at all, and so it worked very well for me early on, and up until about, when I turned 16, earned my blue belt, and then I started traveling to some of these bigger tournaments. I started holding the Pan Ams in the U.S., started holding the Worlds in the U.S. a lot more, and then I was able to, then at times, of course, I would see my wrestling sometimes as a double-edged sword, and it did cost me, quite a few big matches early on, as a blue belt and purple belt, but I'm happy that, it was at blue belt and purple belt as opposed to, continuing to make those mistakes now at black belt when it really counts. So I consider myself lucky in that sense of regard. But yeah, it's kind of how it turned out for me, but definitely stylistic differences between wrestling and then wrestling for submission grappling, as I like to call it, and that's what I teach here to my students. I'll teach you wrestling, I'll teach you a lot of wrestling, but understand it's wrestling for submission grappling. And I tell the high school kids that come to the wrestling class that as well. It's like, if you have questions about, what would you do in a match or something like that, I'm absolutely happy to answer those for you, but the main focus of my class is to teach wrestling for submission grappling.
Nice. That's it makes sense. That's what you guys are competing in. So that's pretty damn cool. I got a question about what it's like to be Rafael Lovato Jr.'s first ever black belt. What does that mean? And do you feel like that came with a lot more pressure than if you just got it from somebody else in the sport that maybe wasn't as popular?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the most, special moments of my life, a real milestone in my life. At that point in time, I'd been here training at Lovato's Academy for about 12 years, and I think we're rounding out at least 2, getting ready to come up on 3 years. I believe I'm in my 3rd year now as a black belt. But yeah, it was one of the most special moments in my life, a day that I'll never forget. And absolutely, I do view it as I do believe that there, along with that comes some pressure to feel. Master Rafael Lovato Jr. is, the most decorated and, in my opinion, the greatest American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor ever. And I believe his accomplishments speak for themselves in that regard. And, trying to, being his first black belt was, and I said this the day that I got it, when he gave it to me, I said, as great a milestone and marker in my life as this is, and as happy as I am and just, elated and in disbelief, at the same time, I told everyone there the day he gave me my black belt that, as happy a moment as this is, I view this is a real responsibility, not only to, better myself as a person, an individual, in competition, but in every area. So I mean, teaching, becoming a better teacher to my students, studying the game, always knowing what's out there, so that you can be a better teacher as well as a better competitor. I mean, in all areas, it was a real responsibility that I viewed it as, and that I took on, and one that I, tell myself every day that, this is the standard, and this is what I've got to live up to. And, it drives me, it inspires me, it pushes me every single day. And, I mean, I don't really view it more or less as pressure in the sense of the fact that it's a negative, kind of pressure, but it really does help push me, drive me, inspires me to be, the best competitor, the best teacher, and better all-around person that I can be.
Absolutely.
What brings you a sense of fulfillment doing what you do?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
What brings you a sense of fulfillment doing what you do now?
Oh, I really enjoy, giving back to an art, to a sport that has given me, so much and has offered me, so much. I first began teaching here in 2006. I started teaching a wrestling class here. And then in 2008, I started teaching, beginner level classes as a brown belt. And then, I've just kind of worked my way up, and now I teach primarily the intermediate class here as well as the advanced classes when Master Rafael is not here. And we go back and forth teaching the Noogie class. And I really, when I first started, I really didn't know how I would, respond to that, or if it was something I would even like, but it was something I thought I'd give a try. And, this is, a dream of mine. One day I want to have my own academy as well. And, part of that was, obviously skill building. I'm going to need to know how to teach classes. I'm going to need to know how to run things. And so I started, watching Rafael, and when I started teaching classes, when he would teach classes as well, I started watching him in a new light. It wasn't just the technique he was showing, but I started paying more attention to the key details, key things he would point out. What would he say, when he showed this move? What would he say when he showed this move? And what little things would he show here? And what little things would he show there? Because you never know what someone's going to pick up or not pick up, or see or not see, or hear or not hear. And so, I started watching him in that way as well. And when I did, it really opened my eyes up to, a whole new level of understanding of, the techniques. So, being able to teach has really helped me out a lot. And, it's something that I get really a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of. And, I'm now not only just an adult instructor here, teaching Jiu-Jitsu to the an intermediate level and advanced level adults at times, but I'm also the head of the kids program here, as that was another skill that I really wanted to get. And, I've had a whole lot of fun teaching that class, and building that program up to where it is. And I believe that when I took over, there were maybe 8 kids in it, and now it's got over 40 or 45 enrolled. Wow. Now, and it's just getting bigger and stronger, and now I've got a good big set of them that are really interested in competition. And then so I started a competition team for them, and I run that as well, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that, really giving back to them. And of course, like I said, this is a dream of mine. I want to utilize all of my skills one day to have my own academy. And that being said, another thing people probably don't know is that I'm actually still in school. Jiu-Jitsu for me is still more or less a part-time kind of thing. As much as this is where my heart lies, I have a lot of other commitments out there right now. In fact, I'm in the middle of an internship right now that I work 40-hour weeks, and I still find time to train and do Jiu-Jitsu and try to compete and stay up there at that top level. While working a 40-hour job as an intern, and as much as that sucks.
What exactly are you doing?
I am getting I have a master's degree in dietetics and a bachelor's degree in health and exercise science, and I'm working now on my certifications for strength and conditioning and to be a registered dietitian. And that, coupled with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Noogie world champion, having my own school one day, I want to be able to not just offer Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts in that way, but I, would like to be able to offer strength and conditioning programs, women's fitness boot camp programs, kids programs, as well as be like, put my certification, strength conditioning certification skills to use, as well as my nutrition and dietetics skills to use as well, counseling people, creating full level programs for them, not just strength conditioning routines, but coupled with a nutrition, plan as well, as I believe that the two are absolutely necessary to, you must have both of those to achieve a full level, or overall complete, health and wellness goal, if that is your goal. And that's what I want to do, ultimately one day, as well as teach martial arts.
That is unbelievable. That makes me feel like a bum for doing only nothing compared to what you just named off. I was wondering, before we let you go, because our time's actually running up short, what's coming up for you?
Well, the Noogie World Championships are this weekend. It's a tournament that I've been training very, very hard for, and I was able to win it back in 2010, and that was my first black belt world title. It's a very special title for me, as I've been a black belt for like 3 months, almost exactly near to the day. And I ended up making it to the finals again last year, losing to Cobrinha in the finals in a great match. And he's back there this year. I'm back there this year. We're back at the same weight. I really do hope that the bracket turns out well. I'd love to see him again on the other side in the finals and have another war with him. And that's what I've been focusing on. It's what I've been training for every day. When I wake up, it's I know my goal for the day. I know my focus. I know where it's at. This is what I've been working on. Every time I go to sleep, I dream that's the finals match. It's going to happen, and I hope this time to come out on top and be the victor.
What do you think is what do you feel is your most, what's your favorite fight that you fought in Jiu-Jitsu?
I actually just did another interview for somebody else, and they asked me the same question. And it truthfully, honestly, is a tie. But one of the most fun matches, exciting matches that I ever had with somebody was actually earlier this year at the New York Absolute, my match with Samuel Braga. It was a 20-minute war, nonstop action, both guys going right at each other, gaining a lot of, both had a lot of attacks, a lot of great defenses, attacking submissions the whole time. 10-minute regulation, no points ended up being scored, went to 10-minute overtime. I believe that I scored with like only two and a half something minutes left. I got a guard pass, and I gained not that I already didn't have the respect for Samuel Braga with everything he's been able to accomplish. I mean, he's a black belt world champion in the gi, and I know this was a no-gi fight, but I mean that guy, he is one tough customer for sure. I gained so much respect for him on so many levels, and it was such a great match. It was one that I've been, I received many messages about, in the days and weeks to come about, as it was posted on YouTube, and everyone said that it was the match of the tournament and this and that, sent me so many nice messages. But it really, was one of those, moments where it was, against one, a real top high level competitor that went long, went hard, and I was able to grind it out and get the victory at the end. So that was probably one of my most memorable matches ever. And then, of course, the other one being with Carlos Vieira Holanda back in 2010, where I won my black belt no-gi world title as a featherweight. And then, of course, making that moment so much more special, Master Rafael earned his first no-gi black belt world title on the same day, beating Tusa in the finals both of the matches happened to be by ref decisions as well, so very suspenseful, very exciting, and another special moment in my life, one that I'll never forget.
That's unreal. And both of us wish you much luck at the World's Noogie. I'm sure we'll be watching it online.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go now, but we'd love to have you back on perhaps and talk about you winning your second world title after this weekend.
Awesome. Sounds great. Yeah, for sure. And then for anyone who'd like to know, guys, you can follow me at facebook.com/DarthRader86, and you can follow me on Twitter at DarthRader86 as well.
Absolutely. I know we already do, so hopefully...
Sounds great.
Thank you very much again, Justin. Man, it was great talking with you.
Yeah, you guys too. Anytime. Keep in touch.
Sounds good. We're going to take advantage of that offer.
Thank you.
All right. That sounds good. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon.
All right. Later.
Mr. Joel.
I like that guy.
I know you do, because he's talking about wrestling, and you fucking love wrestling.
Love wrestling.
One thing I like that he mentioned was about the shots without the shoes, and just because you're good at wrestling doesn't mean you're going to kill it in the BJJ tournaments.
Which is funny, because I don't have wrestling shoes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to bring up. You just do your shots with barefoot constantly, eh?
I think it's better. I don't know. Like, in my opinion, those shots, like, when... I've never worn the wrestling shoes, but, you know, they're used to having that much friction.
Yeah.
As soon as they take it off, I think I might have a little bit of advantage, but...
Yeah, no, for sure.
For anybody.
Well, think about it.
Shoeless.
It's what's in your domain. What do you want to do? You want to focus on MMA. Mm-hmm. Guess what? You can't do shots with shoes on in MMA. So barefoot wrestling is actually really smart to do. Coming up, guys, we have Victor Estima. He should be calling in. Victor Estima is a black belt. He also, he's the brother of legendary grappler
Braulio.
Yeah. So we're going to have him calling in. He's going to call in about 5 minutes. And, it's hard not to bring up his brother, though. I kind of don't know if I want to bring it up, but, like,
the show.
He probably hears it so goddamn much.
I don't want to talk about Braulio.
No.
I just want to talk about me.
Is that his accent?
I don't know.
I don't even know if he has an accent.
Oh, my God.
So,
we both smell like shawarma right now.
Oh yeah, right before the show, guys, we had a pre-radio celebration dinner, and we had some Lebanese food, and god damn it, this room stinks like garlic, and hummus, and tabbouleh, and chickpeas.
It smells like a horror movie.
What kind of, like a scary one?
Like a gory movie.
Oh, okay.
Like the low-budget, cheap, you can't even see the monster.
You said monster, like with a U. I like it. So, this room stinks, that's for sure, guys. And back to Victor for a second. Victor, what are your thoughts on him? He has his own footlock.
Does he?
Yeah, like the Estima footlock or something.
What is it? What's it look like?
We'll have to YouTube it right now. I can't describe it to the listeners. I'm not that perfect of a speaker. But, so, before we get back, what did you do this weekend before he calls in? We got 1 minute. Hit him up. Let the viewers at home know what Jared does on the weekend.
I ate some really good food.
Yeah? What kind of food? I'm always curious. We're talking about food.
Actually, I changed up my diet. Some celery and some tuna.
Serious?
Yeah.
Nice. I love tuna.
That's about it for the weekend.
Yeah?
How about you?
Very boring. I celebrated my 28th birthday.
28.
On the 28th.
Wow.
So, yes. Am I happy about it? Nah, I could care less. Am I kind of happy that I'm getting closer to Masters and I don't have to grapple these hopped up kids? Kind of.
Man.
I'm joking. I'm gonna still compete in the adults, but
turning 22 coming up.
I fucking hate you. I hate your guts.
I
the
hate
youth that's coming out of your mouth right now.
I don't think 22. I don't know. Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Thanks for being on.
Not a problem, not a problem at all. I'm actually quite excited to join you guys on the show.
Nice. Just so you know, there's two people here on our end. I'm David.
And I'm Jer.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. We're big fans of yours. We actually been talking about this all day, about the episode we had on. So let's get right into it. How did you get into BJJ? Because that's one of my favorite things to find out how people got into it.
Basically, I got in BJJ through my brother. My brother was the first one to start in the family. He started training, around about the age of 16, and then he started to do really well, competing in the biggest competitions in our city, and also competing internationally. And he managed to achieve his like a Pan American title. So when he was a blue belt only in 1999. And then when it became a big deal in my state, because we never had a Pan American champion in our state at all. So when that happens, it became a big deal. So it made me a little bit more inspired to start training. So when I got to the age of 15, and then I started to train. That's the reason why.
Nice. Do you think that you could have been as successful in BJJ if your brother wasn't around, kind of guiding you per se?
Basically, my brother had a massive influence in my start. But if it would be my brother or somebody else that could introduce me to the sport, I think I would probably carry on. But it's really a difficult one to say, actually, isn't it? Because it was actually having my brother in front. He kept highlighting like actually I can do, because he's done it himself. So it's quite something that it pushed me quite a lot. But I am passionate about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So maybe if somebody else will introduce me, and then I found the training, I enjoy myself so much that I think I would probably pursue the same passion as many of my friends have done it as well, without a brother. So I'm sure I would enjoy it and kept training.
What was the toughest time for you in Jiu-Jitsu?
The toughest?
Yes.
The toughest time.
Yeah, what was it? Sorry, what was your toughest moment in all of your career?
The toughest moment, that's when I found that I had a stress fracture in my back. That's when I thought I had to stop training for real. That happens just in 2010. That's when I didn't compete at all that year. Through the end of 2009 to 2010. I discovered that I also had a herniated discs on my L3, which was pressured by the stress fracture that I had when I was a little younger. I couldn't train at all. I was really thinking that, with the possibility to give up jiu-jitsu. So that was actually the toughest time in my career.
When you did make the comeback, did you have any self-doubt, or did you return stronger than ever?
When I was able to perform in training and be able to train without pain, and then I overcome with a lot of physiotherapy and care with my back, and then I think that was make me stronger, make me want more, because every single day I went to, I was watching fights, I was, reading things about, how to make myself, psychologically ready for comeback, and to see if it's possible to come back. So there was a lot of doubts, but that thing that kept me driving, knowing that I will. That it's not going to be my end. I will carry on. I found a specialist for my back, and I pursued as good as all the best treatment as possible, and that made me want even more. So when I fixed my back, I came back 100%, and that's when I performed my best performance after that injury.
What was your house with two jiu-jitsu kids growing up? What was it like being in that house?
Yeah, actually, in the house, my brother, when I started training, I was a little older already, 15. My brother was 16. He's 4 years older than I am. My childhood wasn't really influenced by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but my teenage times was like I was a bit too young compared to my brother, so I really didn't spend much time actually training with him, and I actually I shared a lot of respect to my brother because he's the older and he's the one who started. He served even the purpose of almost like a teacher for me, because so that kind of a mentality that I had towards him allowed us, to be very close, sharing the same passion, and me following his steps, and then actually that was very pleasant because me and my brother we were able to share like a bit more than just friends, because we are brothers in the first place, and we have the similar passions, and we kind of became even closer and sharing the same point of views, and so it became very pleasant to grow. And we actually, when I moved to the UK, I lived with my brother, so that the early stages of my 20s as well was with my brother. I have him as my my coach, and by the time when I moved to the UK, my teacher stayed in Brazil, so he was my full-time coach. So we became like brothers to friends to I'm a student, becoming a student of him. So it's like all combined. So it was really pleasant, growing up, on that kind of mentality.
Nice. I was actually just about to ask that next question. How was it making a transition from Brazil, moving over to the UK?
Coming to the UK was full of challenges and full of excitements as well, because I'm coming from Brazil. We're used to very little, and we very difficult for us to kind of follow a career and follow especially where I come from, the northeast of Brazil, which is much harder to progress. So coming over here, we found an opportunity to progress, be able to live out of our passion. So coming to the UK, we had a massive challenge with the cold. The cold, it's the thing that kind of challenges us the most. But because in the beginning, I think everything's so new, the cold didn't matter. For me, actually, it was different and interesting, because we never seen snow before. So all the first 2 years was like wonders, and then I started to realize how cold it is, and sometimes can get you quite, tough on it. But I think after we got used to the cold weather and what to expect, and then we started to be more smooth here. There was like some ups and downs over here, and I think the biggest thing for me is the challenges over here is being the cold. Everything else in this country is amazing, and I love Europe, I love UK, and I've been here for about 8 years, so I'm more than used to the style of living and everything else. So I'd rather live here than anywhere else.
If it wasn't for Jiu-Jitsu, what do you think you'd be doing today?
Before I did start Jiu-Jitsu, before I actually made the decision to live from Jiu-Jitsu, like to make my full-time job, I actually was studying to become a physiotherapist, but with the idea to become a dentist, because my dad is a dentist. So I'll probably become one of those, dentists or physiotherapists.
Nice.
That was my pathway before I chose to come over.
Nice. You've already been a world champion in Noogie, a medalist at the Mundials for Gi. What are some titles that are just on your list to accomplish before you retire as an active competitor in grappling?
It's a good question. I basically, I since when I just have to give you a quick feedback about what I've done. Like when I was in Brazil, we didn't have much for example, my family couldn't afford to support me and to travel. So I spent all my white, blue, purple, and brown belt only able to fight once a year. So I only able to compete once a year. So I chose to compete in the World Championships, and where I medaled pretty much every belt until I got to the black belt. And then when I moved to the UK, when I was here already full time, and then I was able to afford a little more, so I started to compete more. So most of my competitions in my career came from the black belt. And I know my main titles were, I got the European Championships, Pan American, 2006, and I've got a few other, as you just said, there was Noogie, and then a few other, Abu Dhabi Pro medalists. And to be honest with you, the title that I always aimed for is to become world champion in a gi. Even though it came earlier in a Noogie, but that was the goal that I put to myself when I started and I pursued my dream. Living in Jiu-Jitsu is to become world champion with a gi. I almost got it 3 times. I got bronze medal, 3 times pretty much, losing to the champion every single time. It's a bit frustrating for me because I was so close many times, but it's still something that I'm really, really looking to get, and I'm making all the preparation of my journey this year is going to be towards that competition. Beginning of June next year, that's my target time now. I actually started preparation on Monday, actually yesterday. Yesterday. That's my first day of preparation for that competition.
What made you decide to build a career off of doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Basically, when I was trying to decide what I want to do as a career, I kind of thought to myself, I have to do, I have to choose something I like. So I read a book that helped me a lot. That it showed that if you really if you work with it like with a passion, if you choose something that you really passionate about and you're trying to work with it, you never have to work one day in your life, like they say, right? So I always train Jiu-Jitsu for fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. I used to train like twice a day, 3 times a day. And just the idea of being able to earn a living doing that appealed a lot to me. So on early stages of my, by the time I was 19, deciding whether I'm going to go uni or going to UK to live Jiu-Jitsu, I kind of, that weighed a lot for me. So I chose Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a way of living my passion as a job, so I can enjoy the rest of my life in something I love, not having to do a chore, doing work, something that I don't really love just because I wanted to be successful. So the success will come by doing with love and with passion, and then everything else comes around with it.
Nice. Do you spend a lot of your time passing your knowledge on to students? You teach a lot?
Yes, I do teach a lot. If I even can say to you that I don't have any black belt teammates to make training for me. If you guys don't realize that I've been competing for the last few years, and I've pretty much been training with my students. Last year, I only did 3 sparring sessions with my brother for 10 minutes each round. So I haven't trained much at all with my brother because he's been traveling a lot. I haven't trained much with Rader because he's always traveling around. So I've been training with my students only. So I've been, I teach a lot, and by teaching, give me, a lot more understanding about the game and about myself, so I can, develop and drill more specifically to my own game. So I think I basically teach many hours a day. It's an average of 7 hours in a day that I teach. Wow. So that's my this is before I even start training. So I do spend a lot of time teaching, and by doing that, that's basically one of my biggest passion. That's what I do pretty much all year long.
What is the most important things that you try to instill in your students?
I usually, when I'm teaching, I'm trying to always give them a bit of obviously the input of Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm always trying to grow on them the possibility that they can do whatever they want. They can achieve whatever they want. I always trying to give really life to him that whatever, if they want to be a world champion, they have all the tools to become one. If you want to be, living out of a Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle, being healthy, and maybe open a school, they can do. So one of the strongest things I leave to my students is to use Jiu-Jitsu as a way of life in many different directions. So I try to live up for examples as well. So I try to show them how I got what I got, and so give an opportunity for them to try to get the same as well. So try to make an impact on their lives, not only in Jiu-Jitsu, but and also on their lives in order to decide and pursue their passions. And that's one of the things I actually been talking to my students yesterday. That I always share those knowledge. The things that are all the goals and all the mental attitude that I had in order to kind of get what I got. Coming from what I came, like having no perspective almost at all. and kept going and going and going. That's one of the things I kept really pushing to my students, and and getting them to understand that those things in Jiu-Jitsu also apply in our normal life. So trying to is obviously sometimes we always trying to improve ourselves. It's not like I've got it all. I always have the same mindset as I'm trying to, I'm always trying to improve myself in the ways that I'm teaching them, inside and outside life. So I think this is one of the things I focus a lot in my school, apart from Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice. Now, as a teacher, you have so much experience and you're such a high level. Sometimes in North America, there are numerous schools with lower rank belts teaching. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it is a good thing for purples and browns and even blue belts to teach jiu-jitsu to people, or should they be have your qualifications or a black belt?
I think that my teacher, he started as a blue belt teaching us, so I think it's very possible to be teaching jiu-jitsu, in an early stage, especially obviously if you don't have no jiu-jitsu around, and you haven't got no ways to how to get jiu-jitsu, and by teaching is a very good way how to learn it. Especially with the jiu-jitsu, you can travel anywhere, you can go, videos, online teaching and stuff like that. So it's very possible that you can start at the early stages teaching, and then you can become something in jiu-jitsu. Like my teacher, Zahadiola, he was a blue belt when my brother started training, and nowadays he has an academy full of champions, and he's an amazing instructor. I think, but if you would be like a blue belt teaching, but that is a school like about 10 miles away from you, or maybe even 50 miles away from you. And I think that you should be getting in a car and going there and trying to improve yourself, and also continue to teach. I think continue to teach is a key, and then they'll make you improve a lot.
Great advice.
If you can give an advice to the white and blue belts that want to become world champions one day, what would it be?
I just say them, put that target in the top of the head. Put that one thing in the wall, like something saying, I want to be a world champion black belt, and think about it every single day, live in it, train hard, and just think that they will achieve as long as they keep going. If they don't believe in themselves, and that's when they kind of stop believing. Like, for example, if they don't have that confidence, don't pursue it, and the first obstacle comes on no way, they will stop. They're never going to get there. But if a lot of things going to happen, a lot of ups and downs, and as long as they keep with the eye on the target and fight for it and do everything they can to achieve it, they will definitely get there.
Nice. Have you ever thought about making a transition to the MMA?
I have many mixed thoughts. A lot of the times I wasn't sure, if I wanted to or not. But I started to grow on me the feeling, and because I think in life is everything about stages. I've been in a stage that I want to accomplish something that I put across to myself like years ago, which become world champion in the gi. And once I'm in peace with myself on that target, I started to already smell the air towards MMA. I don't know, the reason, but it's looking at my brother already fighting, and as I said to you, my brother kind of works as a inspiration to me. It's not something that I'm copying my brother, but it's like it makes me interested because he has a similar pathway, and it kind of gives me a little like, this is the next step. This is definitely the next step. And I started to realize that with my jiu-jitsu style, the MMA is quite natural to myself. I have performed some training sessions, and I felt very comfortable just because the way I play jiu-jitsu itself. And so those things started to kind of give me a buzz to maybe do it. So as long as I accomplish my target, which is become world champion, hopefully in 2011 and 2013, and then I definitely think about starting training You know, we're not going to fight straight away after. I'm obviously going to spend a good year training my stand-up and my, you know, and preparing more to MMA before I even fight. But that's definitely on my list.
Nice. This world title in the gi keeps popping up. So what are some changes that you make once you focus on this tournament as far as your mind, training, eating habits, sports conditioning? How much difference does it make from your everyday life that you do right now?
Basically, as I said to you, you know, I spend a lot of time teaching, and I just opened my brand new school, and that I worked so hard to get. So I always been, as I said, I used to teach for my brother for 5 years. So I never had my own school and my own team. So the last 3 years I've been building it. So now I'm finally in a comfortable place that I can, you know, have an instructor to actually take classes for me while I can go and look after myself. So the thing that I've been missing for me is the idea that I can just focus on my competition. You know, I always thought that, you know, I've been doing all these competitions, having to teach every single day, teach privates and so seminars, and having to travel. Before even my last world championship, I did about, you know, four seminars in about 3 weeks, you know, and together with the training, traveling different countries in Europe. So it is a very intensive kind of lifestyle, and together with the preparation, it becomes not the ideal. So I put a target to myself at this time. I'm going to focus 100% on it. So maybe the other times I wasn't focused 100%. So I will focus 100% in only training, like sleep, diet, rest, train hard, and train with the people that I need to train. As I mentioned before, I've been training with my students. I have only one black belt, and he's not in the international level yet because I just got his black belt. And that's the only training that I've been having. So I'm thinking about finally joining my teammates in California for a few weeks beforehand, and like every other black belt that winning is doing, like the Atos team, the Mendes brothers with André Galvão, the guys from Checkmat, and they all camp. I go there just straight from my home, straight to the plane. 3 days later, I'm fighting. So, you know, in training only with one black belt. And then I was like, you know, I need to make sure that I have the commitment and the training partners to be able to get what I want to be. So that's going to be my new change. So I'm going to put all into this next few months.
Nice. Good luck with that, and congratulations on your brand new school. That's a great thing for you. Hello?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Connection.
Yeah, okay. So I was just saying congratulations on the school, and that's a huge accomplishment, and we're glad that you could finally take more time out to put together a proper camp so you could accomplish your goal of world champion. I think it is important to go out of your normal training habits and get together with a strong team and put a good effort in. So I'm glad you're going to do that. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, I'm excited about it. Thank you.
So other than your brother and other than Roger Gracie, who are your top 3 favorite grapplers to watch? There you go. Leo Vieira, Terere on his prime. I have to say one of my rivals, Marcelo Garcia, he's great to watch. I can tell you, even now the new guys coming up, I love watching Buchecha. You know, has a very forward game. Love watching him. I love watching Lucas Lepri. He's a great fighter in the lightweight division. He's always bringing some really forward game and pretty beautiful jiu-jitsu. I like to watch, I like to always watch Cobrinha. Cobrinha has a very fast-forward style as well. So I have a lot of fighters that I really enjoy watching, and they inspire me to continue to fight and improve myself. Nice. Out of everyone you just named, who is one person that you would love to have a one-on-one with for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Like for a match?
No, for a lesson, like you actually being a student for them.
A student from them. Good one.
For a
Let
1
me
hour.
think. For 1 hour.
Yeah.
There is one guy that I'd like to really feel and see what he's got, which is Rickson Gracie. I'd love to
Nice.
spend an hour with Rickson. Rickson Gracie.
That's a great answer. Do you think that the people of today are as sharp as he was in his day, or is that just not even comparing the same thing?
I think it's really difficult to compare because I believe that Rickson Gracie, he was the greatest at his time. But Jiu-Jitsu was nowhere near as big as it is now. So it's not about sharpness, it's about the time in life and what he had in his time. He definitely had the edge against everyone on his time. For example, like look at the Roger Gracie. Well, he has the big edge, even though Jiu-Jitsu is so popular and everyone trains. So, I think he was the one ahead of his time. Like a few other fighters are ahead of his time in our time. So there was no better. I think he was as good as. Every time has the ahead of the time. But now Jiu-Jitsu is more popular, so it's really hard to be the winner all the time. So I think that's the way he goes by.
That's really well put. Can we ever plan on seeing any DVDs from you?
Yeah, we actually, me and my brother, we are launching a new, not necessarily a DVD, but it's like a subscription website, which nowadays we're trying to go, more to the next level, which is trying to have this subscription website, which is called Estima TV, and we are trying to launch that in the beginning of next year. And that we will replace the idea of a DVD because everything is going through applications and things like that. So we're having something more interesting as well, not only about Jiu-Jitsu techniques, but a bit of entertainment with Jiu-Jitsu at the same time. So it's going to be a quite interesting approach that we're bringing. And that's pretty much it. By January next year, we're going to be having this website, which is kind of a instructional type of thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. That sounds very exciting. I can't wait for that to launch. What are some other upcoming things that you plan on doing perhaps till the end of the year and the starting of next year?
This year I'm planning to do the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials in Lisbon on the 1st of December, which is in another 4 weeks, 3 weeks from now. 3 to 4 weeks actually, and I'm focused on fighting that so I can get myself to go to the Abu Dhabi Pro next year, and finishing that, just going through Christmas, nice and enjoying the break with the family. But in January, come back straight away for the Europeans and make that as my rhythm towards the competitions. The main competition I want to fight, which is the World's Noogie, the Worlds with the gi in June. So that's what going to be my goals. Continue to teach, but I will slow down my teaching so I can prepare more. So that's my new, like the short-term goal.
Nice. That is unbelievable. Good luck with all those things. Before we let you go, just let people know where your dojo is located, perhaps maybe how they could follow you on your social media platforms.
Cool. Basically, I'm based in Nottingham, in the UK. My academy is called Gracie Barra Nottingham. You can check on our website, graciebarranottingham.com. My Twitter is at Victor Estima, all together, and I have got Instagram as well at Victor Estima BJJ. And that's basically the most common ways to communicate with me, and basically that's pretty much it.
Time here, but thank you very much for taking time out of your day and talking to BJJ ADDICT Radio. We really appreciate it, and we hope you accomplish all your goals that you set out to do.
This is a big pleasure, for me. It's kind of an honor to be having this opportunity, and I hope people that's listening to that, I could have touched them and maybe inspired them somehow. And you know, this is like a, as I said, you know, one day I was just like a white belt that didn't know what I was going to be, even a black belt one day. And today to be in this position to be, you know, speaking to you guys and share a bit of my experience, it's amazing. It makes me really happy. And I hope I've accomplished that. You guys can, you know, again, you know, if you guys ever need me, or just can just send me an email, and we can always keep hooked up. And if you guys come to the UK as well, please make sure you can come for a visit in my school. That'll be a big pleasure.
Thank you very
It's our
much.
pleasure.
We're gonna take you up on both those offers.
That'll be nice, guys. Listen, let's keep in touch. You know, like I said, everyone, whoever comes from Canada or from the US comes to Europe, it has to be a must stop in my school. Okay.
Definitely. Sounds good. Thank you again.
Nice one, a big pleasure. So I hope you guys have a nice evening, and the show continue with everyone over there, and you guys doing a great job for BJJ. You know, BJJ is growing. It needs people like you guys, like radios like yourself to, you know, inform people and keep them, you know, pursuing the art and make everything grow. So in the next 10 years, imagine how it's going to look like.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment coming from you. Definitely appreciate that.
Nice one, guys. The signal is kind of a bit of a delay. I can't hear you properly.
Oh, sorry. We were just saying thank you very much for that. It's a huge compliment coming from someone like yourself.
Thank you very much. It's a big pleasure. This is great.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice one, guys. Take care. Huh? Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Damn, man. Victor Estima thanks us for doing radio.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to have to wrap this show up. Sorry about the connection at the end. I know it was a little crapola. I don't want to swear anymore, so that's my word, crapola. But, damn, man. Thanks again to Justin Rader. Thank you to Victor Estima. Thank you to Erica, the puppeteer. That's gonna be my nickname for her. She's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes for FightFans Radio. Thank you very much, making this happen, letting me and Jeroel here live our dreams out through verbal communications
And
on these airwaves
and social media.
Yeah, man, we're trying to be the rock stars of this radio shit. So thanks to everyone. Next week, we have a guest on, but I'm not going to announce it because I don't know if it's coming through. But we do have some big stuff coming up. So every episode, huge guests. So be on the tip for that. And thank you very much, Jared. Any last words?
Yes, I got a word.
Okay. Hurry up. We're running out of time.
Oh, what's that? What's the one Ryan Hall used?
Oh, man. Oh. What did he say again?
I can't remember.
Anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll say it next time. Thanks, guys, for listening. And remember, follow us on BJJ Addict Radio and the BJJ Addict. And subscribe to our goddamn YouTube, please. That's it.
Hang tight, dudes.
Hang tight.